so much of the Republican Party is ideology is informed by billionaire libertarians. You know, the Koch brothers are billionaire libertarians, for example. You know, David Koch ran for vice president on the Libertarian platform in 1980. What is now the Cato Institute was, if what I've read online is correct, was originally started as the Charles Koch Foundation. Now there's a new Charles Koch Foundation. But, you know, basically they believe in these libertarian principles. And there's now this whole new generation of billionaires coming out of Silicon Valley who call themselves libertarians. So, and they're pushing the Republican Party, just like progressives are pushing the Democratic Party, and, you know, in their direction. The problem is, you know, the progressives, you know, there's a long, you know, and storied progressive tradition. Progressives, you know, I mean, all the way back to, you know, as I've often said, Thomas Jefferson, the University of Virginia, the first free public, college. There were schools funded by the government here in Washington, D.C. But, you know, the progressive idea is that everybody should have access to not just a good education, but an excellent education. The libertarian idea is that if you're rich, you should get the best school you want, and if you're poor, screw you. That's the libertarian, that's the Z that Charles was talking about. He owned up to it. God bless him. But the Republicans are not going to own up to this. Betsy DeVos is not going to tell you that this is her end game. And maybe it's not. I don't know. You know, we'll see. Donald Trump isn't going to tell you that this is his end game. But he's stacking his administration with these libertarian-leaning billionaire Republicans. And when you look at what the end point is of libertarianism, which is basically dog-eat-dog, total vicious competition in the marketplace. Something called competition, but it's not really competition. Particularly in the areas that should be the commons, like education, should be the commons. When you look at that endpoint, it is no education for you, young man, because you weren't born into rich parents. Oh, you can go to the finest private school you want, young man, because, you know, or young lady, because your parents are wealthy. That is the American ideal that's being held up by Donald Trump, the Republican Party, and the libertarians. I don't think that is the American dream or the American ideal.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann program. Call 202-808-9925.
These guys are so far out of the mainstream, which is another really important reason why we have to get together, hold ourselves together, and fight.